If you're trying to get at least $25,000 guaranteed from a Navy Federal credit card, I'm going to explain to you some of the things that you actually need to know. And I'm going to actually show you some other credit unions that can give you higher limits than Navy Federal that are much easier to join as well. Now, first thing, let's look at Navy Federal. All right. So when you join Navy Federal, most of the people that have the challenges is because they don't have anybody that's military related. Correct. Now, in terms of, I always told you guys, if you share a household or share the same address with a friend or family in that same household, if they join Navy Federal, then Navy Federal will allow you to join. Okay. Now, if you have a deceased parent or grandparent that served the military, then what you would have to do is get their DD-214 form in order to join Navy Federal. Now, one thing I would definitely tell you guys, do not buy those access numbers off of the web, okay? Because if you buy those numbers and you open up these accounts, all right, you can get hit with fraud charges, all right? So that's the reason you want to stay away from those. Now, that being said, for those of you that are members and trying to figure out how can I get $25,000 credit limits with Navy Federal credit cards, I'm going to tell you something. You usually going to have to do is certain cards, all right? Now, for most people, when they're trying to get $25,000 or more, all right, they're go for this here card here, right? The Visa Signature Flag. Stay away from this card, okay? Stay away from this card. I know it goes up to $80,000, but here's how Navy Federal works. They give you $80,000 across the board. And then depending on your income, they may go above that threshold. But the maximum across the board for most is $80,000. So they'll give you $25,000 on this card, $25,000 on that card. Then they may give you up to, another $30,000 on another card. But once you max out, then that's it. All right. Now, here's another interesting thing. When you're trying to say that you had a lower starting limit with Navy Federal, here's the thing about it, how you can test to see if you actually can qualify for higher limits or the maximum. When you asking for a credit limit increase, it's usually 91A. But what people don't tell you is also when you're asking for a credit limit increase on the app so that you can do a soft pull, you also want to ask for a credit limit at about $8,000, okay, on that card. To $8,000 on that card. So if you have a $10,000 card and you want a credit limit increase, usually when you try to do $10,000 or something, they may go into review and they may come back with $8,000, okay? So that'll give you $18,000. However, you can apply for another card, okay? And that card may trigger them to give you $25,000. Now, here's the thing about it that you should know in terms of what's actually triggering this $25,000, especially for people with bad credit. It's the history in the relationship. I keep telling you guys, it's the history in the relationship that Navy Federal is after, okay? If you have long-term deposits going on in your account, I would say usually 9 months or older, okay? Then, even if you have bad credit, in those constant deposit, you may also have that Flagship checking account. Now, this is about the internal score that I'm going to be diving into first, all right? So the internal score, like I told you, having a Flagship account, having a savings account, having their other products like their End Rewards card, having their pledge loan. And again, like I tell you guys, you don't have to have multiple pledge loans, and pledge loans are not going to help you qualify for a personal loan with Navy Federal as well. Okay, the pledge loan is only there for the help the internal score for credit cards. It's not there to help you with a personal loan. All right, just so that you understand that. Okay, then like say that you open up a business bank account. Now again, coming back to the business bank account, I would tell you, make sure when you open up the business bank account, you have a low risk NAICS code. Okay, for those of you that don't understand what that is, click the link in the description, schedule a one-on-one consultation. Now moving forward, talking about this $25,000 guaranteed card. All right. Here's the situation. They're looking at the income. Do you have a relationship with another credit union? That also helps. Why? I don't know. But they like to see people banking with other credit unions. All right. Now, at the same time, when I joined Navy Federal and they gave me $75,000 off the bat, what it was is that I opened up the accounts for me, my wife, and my kids, right? So I opened up multiple accounts, plus I was already working with an 800 credit score. So in terms of them giving me 75 and then giving my wife 35 right off the back or whatever, it was very easy. So they gave me 25, it was 25 on a credit card, 30 on a loan, and another, I think it's like 15 on another credit card. But I've been with Navy Federal for almost 10 years now. But at the same time, for a newbie, trying to get high limits and stuff, like if you're a newbie and you have good, strong credit and you have good income and you open up a couple of accounts, they may go ahead and give you a $25,000 credit card, okay? But when you have challenging credit and you trying to get $25,000, also looking at what type of accounts is on. If you don't have any revolving accounts, this is also something that can affect you from getting that $25,000 credit card. All right. And like I told you, I have other credit unions you can join much easier that give you high limits as well. And we're going to talk about those. But here's the thing about it. Number two, like I said, we done gave you the data points about the internal score. Now, in terms of $25,000 cards, like people may go for the American Express. I would not go for the American Express. The cards that I would go for, and don't get me wrong, people have had success of getting $25,000 starting out with the American Express. But the two cards that are most known for getting your higher limits, or starting out with the $25,000, would be this Gold Rewards here, this Platinum card. Those are your two cards, okay? Those are your two highest chances of starting out, all right? Now, like I said, some people, they may end up getting it out of here. Many people don't start here, all right? They don't start with this Flagship card with the $25,000, all right? If you're getting $25,000 from Navy Federal, they're more likely going to give you this here card or this here card. All right. Well, sometimes, like I said, they may give you this here card. These would be your highest chances of getting $25,000. All right. Now, again, I'm not saying that these are the only cards that Navy Federal will give you a $25,000 limit on. I'm telling you your highest chance of getting $25,000 when you're trying to get $25,000 credit limits starting out is with these two cards here. This here Gold Rewards and this Platinum. Those are your highest chances of getting that $25,000. All right. Now, like I said, just keep in mind, it's all about the relationship. Again, if you just joining Navy Federal, but you have a high credit score, you have a high income, then for them, it's a win-win situation, especially when you're opening up multiple accounts, right? So now they see that, okay, this person also understanding credit reports. So these are the type of things that you actually look at, that they look at. Do you have a mortgage on it? But when you have like small accounts on it and you just building up and stuff, credit builder accounts and stuff like that, then again, they more focus is going to prolong the relationship, especially if the credit is challenged. All right. That being said, when I tell you guys that Navy Federal is not the only credit union around that give high limits, there's other credit unions around that give you high limits. As a matter of fact, with Navy Federal, they pull TransUnion Experian, okay, FICO 9. You guys can start leveraging your VantageScore. That's what I keep telling you guys. Instead of just focusing even on the FICO 9, using your VantageScore. Now, here's the thing about it. with your FICO 9 and your VantageScore. You can easily build those up with utility bills. You can easily build those up with, subscriptions. You can also build that up with rent payments as well as adding authorized users. Now, when it comes to authorized users, the thing about it, the maximum amount of authorized users you should have on your credit file, so it won't look like you have a deceptive credit file, is 2. All right. And also depending on the type of authorized user, because all authorized users don't pull up all the data. All right. And it's also determined on what are you trying to do with the authorized users. Like we offer authorized users, and like people that are part of Navy Federal and they're trying to build a relationship with Navy Federal or whatever, we add them on to the Navy Federal authorized user. So everything is internal. All right. And it picks up all of the data, but all authorized users are not the same. So if you have questions about that, click the link in the description so we can actually explain it to you. Let's talk about it. All right. Now, VCU, Vantage Scoring System, TransUnion. Okay. TransUnion VantageScore 3. Now, you know when you go to Chase, okay, and they give you a free credit score, or you go to American Express, they give you a free credit score, or you go over to Credit Karma. Those are Vantage scores that they're using. Now, the irony of it, Chase and American Express, they're giving you a Vantage score, but they actually use a FICO score. So when you apply for their cards and you get denied because you see that they're telling you have a higher score, that's not the same as your FICO score. And you may get denied, okay? So that you'll be aware of it. Now, here's another thing you have to understand. When you're trying to go after high limit cards, you see this here word here? A lot of times, credit card companies or financial institutions, if you're using these type of rewards cards, they expect for you to spend more, right? And because they expect for you to spend more, then they'll give you a higher limit. Now, usually I tell people Visa Signature cards, Visa Infinite cards, those credit cards usually start out at $5,000 or higher. Okay. Now, keep in mind, this is a Vantage scoring system. All right. So by it being a Vantage scoring system, again, how you're able to manipulate the scoring is doing those 4 things that I mentioned. Now, in reference to joining BCU, I already told you, you would join the Money Life U program. It's $5, but they'll waive that $5. Okay. And then, like I said, they're looking at different data points on your credit file from your TransUnion. They're only going to pull from TransUnion. All right. Now, let's go over here. The next one, Viridian. Viridian is another one that's a Vantage scoring system. Now, in terms of, as you can see, these are the 2 cards that you want to look at. All right. Your platinum cards, they're usually like your balance transfer cards. They usually will give you like a 12-month, 15-month balance transfer. But when you're talking about high limit cards and you're trying to go for a high limit card, you're either going to look at your Vantage, your Visa Signature card, or this here rewards. See, it does have the platinum, but it's the reward. So there's a difference between the platinum card and the rewards card. All right. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. And the reason I noticed is because I started analyzing my own credit file, and I was trying to figure out why some of my cards get a higher limit than the others. And I found out it's because some of my cards are like reward cards and they expect for me to spend more. Now, again, that's not written in stone. It's just something that I've discovered, and I'm looking at credit files every day. And I look at credit files that have the rewards card, and I look at the credit files that don't have the rewards card, and I see in terms of what is the difference in the limits in it. All right. Now, again, this is a Vantage scoring system. As a matter of fact, they pull TransUnion. Okay, showing you proof that Viridian pulls TransUnion. unfrozen credit. Make sure to lift any credit freezes from TransUnion because this is what they pull. All right, and it's a VantageScore. You guys need to learn to start using your VantageScore. They use a VantageScore. All right, now let's go to another one. And again, like I said, because you have a VantageScore, you can manipulate the numbers to have a higher score so that you get approved for a higher credit limit. Because I'm telling you what cards to go for. The next one is Alliant. Alliant uses Vantage 3, right? So with their Vantage 3 scoring, they have two cards, the Visa Platinum, the Visa Signature. Again, like I said, when they expect for you to spend a lot of money, they give you a higher limit. So this is the card I would tell you to go for. If you want to do a balance transfer or just with purchasing stuff, usually they'll give you this card. But when you're trying to get a higher limit, I would go for this here card. Now, again, just keep in mind with Alliant, the situation is you have to actually join. Now, in terms of the way to join Alliant is through the foster care to success. The way that you join Viridian is through the Habitat of Humanity. Your income, I always tell people you should garden a relationship for 90 days. You know, if you can't wait 90 days, I would say at least give it 30 to 60 days. So that way they can see you're not just here to qualify for a credit card. The next one is NASA. NASA used to use Experian Mortgage 2. They switched over to VantageScore 4. All right. And the good thing about it, NASA, they have all of their credit cards you can actually pre-approve for. They show you your pre-approval and your limits for. So you're not wasting an inquiry. All right. So that's the reason I'm telling you guys. A lot of people get stuck on Navy Federal. However, there are other credit unions that give you higher limits that are just as flexible and much easier to join. All right. Now, if you have any questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.